Chapter 736 Obstacles. After getting Chen Jingwan's intelligence, Zhang Yi's heart was actually much more at ease. Most of the pirates were ragtag troops, not a professional army. Therefore, after arriving in Tianhai City, the first thing they thought of was looting supplies. At this time, 70% of the Tianwang pirates' forces were outside. Therefore, those who stayed behind at the harbor base were definitely a small number of elite troops led by Captain Kanuta. Judging from the intelligence provided by the district, their Tengu team definitely had no problem eliminating the Tenryu pirates' fourth team. Bai Li Changqing had already unfolded a three-dimensional map in the carriage and began to lay out the battle plan. "Captain, you are good at long-range sniping. So you will first go to the high ground at point A, which is here. Qi Guangming, you and the captain will be responsible for long-range fire suppression. The harbor is a conical terrain, so we will attack from both the left and right. The coastline has been blocked by the ships from the East Sea region, so we don't need to worry about them escaping. In the meantime, I will deal with the pirate leader Kanuta, and Lian Yu will deal with the others. Everyone else will be responsible for clearing the miscellaneous soldiers." Bai Li Changqing's battle plan had no problems. They were conducting a siege with an absolute advantage in manpower. At the high-level alien level, they were in an absolute advantage. As for the majority of the ordinary pirates in the pirate group, they were nothing more than sitting ducks in their eyes, just fish bellies who would randomly fire their crude AKs. After Bai Li Changqing finished speaking, he looked at Zhang Yi and asked for his opinion. Zhang Yi nodded. "No problem, just execute it. Remember, safety first. Never underestimate your opponent." The group said in unison, "Understood." Zhang Yi and the others arrived near Chaoyu Harbor in less than an hour. They then got out of the car and chose to advance on foot to avoid being ambushed by the opponent. In terms of defense, the battle suits they were wearing were much higher than an armored car. Therefore, the role of the battle suit was just for transportation. The group advanced in three-person teams. It was snowing in the sky, but the view was not blurry. Bai Li Changqing gave Yi Jikang a wink. Yi Jikang understood, and immediately took out a silver metal box from the backpack behind him. When the box was opened, 3 small drones flew out. Yi Jikang manipulated them and flew towards the harbor base. However, soon, before the 3 drones had captured anything, there was a sudden change in the field of view, and the 3 drones fell from the sky. Yi Jikang frowned. They have a very strong awareness of counter-surveillance. Although drone technology was relatively mature, they were after all machines that could easily malfunction due to electromagnetic interference. The Tianwang pirates had been operating in the southern waters for a long time, and among them were many experienced soldiers and mercenaries. Bai Li Changqing sighed helplessly. After the end of the world, modern technology had become less and less useful on the battlefield. Zhang Yi glanced at Meng Xiu. "Can your ability detect the troop allocation of a place?" Meng Xiu said, "My ability only covers a range of 3 kilometers and our current location is at least 5 kilometers away." Zhang Yi looked at Bai Li Changqing. Bai Li Changqing pondered for a moment. Now the heavy snow covered almost all the buildings. The outer perimeter of the Chaoyu base was a large, flat snowfield. And it was difficult to find suitable cover on the snowfield. If they got closer than 3 kilometers, they would be easily spotted by the other side. However, if they could get close quickly, they would still be the side with the absolute advantage. Although the pirates were holding fast to the Chaoyu base, they did not know the terrain. On the contrary, Zhang Yi had given everyone a complete topographical map of the Chaoyu base to view before setting off. Bai Li Changqing quickly made a decision. "Keep moving. Shui Miao, you create a storm to block their view. Now that everyone is playing their cards openly, there's no need to hide." Shui Miao said, "Yes." His ability was wind, which could be easily used in a blizzard. As long as he created a storm, he could form a natural shelter to block the view. Shui Miao summoned a huge storm and created a snowstorm in one corner of the Chaoyu base. Then, taking cover in the storm, the members of the Tengu squad charged straight for the harbor of Chaoyu's base. The commotion quickly attracted the attention of the pirates. Canuta sat on a snow-covered chariot, revealing his shark-like teeth. Is it the regular army from the Jiangnan region? Boys! Kill! He roared, and the surrounding pirates also wildly raised their firearms and roared wildly. These outlaws would not be daunted no matter who they faced. They were people who placed their own lives at risk. On the snowy plain, gunfire had already sounded intensively, and the muzzles were aimed in the direction Zhang Yi and the others were heading. However, these ordinary bullets could not cause any damage to the combat suits. Not to mention their poor marksmanship, they were unable to shoot through the blizzard and hit the group. Bai Li Changqing charged at the front, growling in a low voice, "Forget about the fish, kill the foreigners first. Settle this quickly." Everyone loaded their guns, using standard weapons and origin bullets, of course. Da-da-da-da-da. From the harbor base, the pirates were standing on top of metal boxes, laughing wildly as they fired in this direction. Their aliens did not attack, but instead lurked in the shadows, waiting for an opportunity for close combat. But just as Zhang Yi and the others advanced to a distance of about 1,000 meters from the harbor defense line, a very abrupt position appeared. Bai Li Changqing charged ahead, and his entire body was suddenly bounced back, rolling on the ground before he skillfully stabilized his body. The others were also caught off guard and crashed into the position. What is this thing? There's a wall in front of us, a transparent wall. Where they couldn't see, there was a transparent wall blocking their way. Zhang Yi's eyes narrowed as the opponent's alien made his move. He raised the white owl in his hand and said, "Get out of the way." The team members all moved out of the way, and Zhang Yi fired a shot at the invisible wall. However, the holy silver bullet, which could break magic, stopped in front of the wall and then fell straight to the ground. Even holy silver bullets are useless? What kind of power is this? Just as they were unable to advance, the sound of an engine could be heard in the distance. A group of fierce pirates rode snowmobiles one after the other, crossed the container defense line towards Chaoyu Harbor, and charged over here. Gotcha, it's a big fish. Ha ha ha, how much supplies can we exchange with the Jiangnan region for the lives of these people? We're rich, we really didn't come for nothing on this trip. Chapter 737, Drawing a Line in the Sand. Zhang Yi and the others looked at the thousands of pirates charging madly over, as if they were looking at a group of hateful locusts. They actually dare to charge proactively, are they really looking for death? Wu Di sneered with disdain. They don't know what kind of enemy they're up against. The pirates could only wreak havoc at sea. Once they came ashore, they were as good as crippled. Not to mention an ordinary pirate squad, even if the king of the sea came, he wouldn't dare to fight the investigation squad to the death. So in Wu Di's eyes, these people were undoubtedly looking for death. Zhang Yi, however, looked at the pirates coldly without saying a word. For some reason, he had a bad feeling in his heart. After thinking about it, Zhang Yi took a few steps back. As a result, his body once again felt that feeling of being firmly blocked. Zhang Yi reached back with his hand and sure enough, their way had been sealed off by that invisible wall. Zhang Yi immediately said, "Observe the surroundings, we may have fallen into a trap." When everyone heard Zhang Yi say this, they immediately began to observe the surroundings. This observation immediately made them realize something was wrong. They didn't know when it had happened, but a huge transparent cage had appeared around them, trapping them all inside. Not even the tops of their heads or the bottoms of their feet were left uncovered. And at that moment, thousands of pirates had already surrounded them with their weapons in hand. They wore a sneer on their faces, as if they had seen the fish take the bait. However, they did not attack hastily, nor did they come any closer. A path was made through the pirates, and a tall, skinny man with a shark's face stepped out. He was Canuta, the captain of the 4th team of the Sky Dragon pirates. Canut's gaze swept coldly over the members of the Tengu squad. "You're here, so introduce yourselves." Zhang Yi was not panicking at this time. He didn't even bother with Canuta, but instead ordered his team members, "Try to break through. Unless the other side has an Epsilon-class alien, I don't believe there is any supernatural barrier that cannot be broken through." Upon hearing this, the team members immediately began attacking in every direction to test the barrier. Bullets, supernatural powers, and even fists were used. However, no matter how they attacked, the transparent barrier did not change in any way. It was not very powerful, nor could it reflect the Tengu team's attacks. It just absorbed all attacks like an ocean. Kanuta saw that no one was paying attention to him, so he shrugged helplessly. "You are really rude. You don't even know the basic courtesy." He extended his right index finger towards the crowd. "But I can tell you, don't waste your energy. As long as you enter this cage, no matter what you do, you can't escape. Now, you are just a bunch of birds in a cage." Among the pirates was an outsider named Chen Siyu. In his vision, the huge space where Zhang Yi and the others were was a huge cubic cage. His ability was called Drawing a Prison. It was like the trap used by the bird tamer, where the cage was set up in advance to lock in a specific area. Once anyone entered, the trap was triggered and the cage officially started. No prey that entered could escape. However, in order to maintain this cage, he himself cannot move. Once his body moves, or if he dies, this technique will be lifted. This was the rule of his ability. The smile on Canute's face quickly disappeared, and he waved his right hand, "Kill them." As soon as these words were spoken, thousands of pirates laughed maniacally and pulled the triggers on their guns. From all directions, countless lines of fire formed by bullets shot towards the cage. "Defend!" Zhang Yi shouted. His Two Realms Absolute Seal was the first to be activated, protecting himself, Liang Yu, Hua Hua, and Yang Xinxin. There was no choice. The Two Realms Absolute Seal could only be cast within a 1-meter radius, and he was invincible within a 1-meter radius, but he could not protect them beyond that. Fortunately, for everyone, these bullets did not pose a great threat. So everyone used their skills to defend against this barrage of bullets. "This is not right. Our attacks cannot get through, but they can attack us within this area. Is the siege ability used by the other party one way?" Bai Li Changqing shouted while fending off the bullets with the halberd in his hands. Zhang Yi, however, was not in the least bit anxious. Although he was inside a cage, as long as his other dimensional space could be used, he would remain invincible in defense. Just at this moment, one of the outliers among the pirates jumped out. He raised his hands high, and the broken ice on the ground shot up into the air, before condensing into a giant ice ball with a diameter of tens of meters in his hands. Under his control, the giant ice ball smashed towards the crowd like a cannonball. Bai Li Changqing was about to go forward to resist. But Zhang Yi thought, if the ice ball shattered, their room to maneuver would be greatly restricted. Even if they had great abilities, it would be difficult to exert their strength. "Let me do it." Zhang Yi persuaded Bai Li Changqing to step back. "Liang Yu, Hua Hua, protect my surroundings." After Zhang Yi said this, he released the ability of the Two Realms Absolute Bond. The dimensional portal blocked the direction from which the puck was flying. The puck made no sound and sank directly into Zhang Yi's alternate dimension. Kanuta frowned. "Come on, was this the person Feng Wangyuan told me to kill?" Just as the intelligence said, their defense capabilities are something else. But as long as you can't escape from this prison, sooner or later I can wear you down. Among the pirates, many had already lifted out their shoulder-mounted cannons and rocket launchers. Even if they were aliens, sooner or later their superpowers would run out. At that time, their flesh and blood bodies would also be mercilessly destroyed by the heat weapons. For the Tianlong pirates, this was a long siege, and they had plenty of patience. However, Zhang Yi opened 2 subspace doors, directly confiscating all attacks from the 2 most heavily armed directions. The subspace door had a limited amount of energy it could absorb, but for these heat weapon attacks, they would have to empty an entire arsenal of weapons before reaching the upper limit of his energy absorption. But at that moment, Zhang Yi had a sudden idea. External attacks could break through the barriers of the prison, but their attacks could not be hit. What was the basis for determining the boundary? After thinking about this, Zhang Yi made a bold attempt. He raised his hand and used the dimensional gate to collect a large amount of ammunition. Then he aimed at the pirates outside and reflected it back. Shoo! 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 The bullets flew back the way they had come. The pirates didn't have any battle suits on, so dozens of them were instantly shot to pieces. Zhang Yi's eyes lit up, and a smile crept onto his lips. I know what's going on with this prison,